welcome back to Louisiana Homestead. We're going to be in the kitchen today. I want to thank all of you for subscribing, and for those of you who haven't, I hope you'll consider it. Today I'm going to be doing some easy homemade pizzas, and so come along with me. Okay, let's get started on our crust. We're going to start with 2 3/4 cups of all-purpose flour. You want to make sure that it is room temperature. You don't want to start with cold flour. I'm going to add a tablespoon of salt into that. Mix it in well. We're going to mix up our yeast mixture. I've got 2 cups of very warm water, not too hot. To that, I'm going to add a tablespoon of honey. I'm going to mix that up. We need the honey to help our yeast activate. We're going to add 2 tablespoons of yeast into that. I'm using this yeast here. It's the Fleischmann's bread machine instant yeast. I'm not going to be using a bread machine, but this is the yeast that I'm using. Alright, so here's our 2nd tablespoon there. So I started with a little bit hotter water than I would want to put my yeast into, but I put it into a cold cup, and I also took into account that I added that cold honey. It wasn't refrigerated, but it was not warm as the water is, so now it's to the right temperature for me to add my yeast into. And also my yeast was refrigerated as well, so now the water is just perfect for it to go on ahead and do its thing. So I'm gonna let it sit here a little while and get all that off of that spoon, and I'm gonna let it sit here a little while so it can do its thing. Okay, it's bubbling. Our yeast has bubbled up. It's very active, and it smells nice and much like bread. Nice and yeasty. We're going to start adding that in to our flour mixture. At this time, I'm going to add a tablespoon of olive oil in. Okay, that's looking pretty good. And at this time, I'm going to add my other 2 1/2 cups of flour. And I'm going to add the rest of my water and yeast and honey mixture. And also I'm going to add in another tablespoon of olive oil. Mix these together well. And then I'm going to put them onto the mixing stand and let it knead on low for about 10 minutes. Once I get it mixed together, it's going to go onto the mixing stand to knead. Enough dough for 4 pizzas. If you want to make only 2 pizzas, you'll cut this recipe in half. I'll put the recipe in the description, and the amounts will be for 2 crusts for the pizza. Can add a little moisture to it because it looks a little dry. A lot of that moisture is going to work into that flour. I want a good moist dough. That should do it. So let's get it onto the mixer. and the mixing begins. Okay, our dough has been kneading for 10 minutes. I'm going to oil this bowl with a little olive oil, a nice large bowl. Turn my dough into it. And make sure my dough is covered with this oil. So let me go grab it. Okay, as you can see, my dough is quite sticky. See that? But that's okay because it's going to be sitting here rising for a while. And there's a lot of flour in there that's still going to be absorbing some of that moisture while it's sitting. So I wanted it to be like that. And I'm just going to turn it over in this oil where it can get a good coating of oil on each surface. Now I'm just going to cover that. I'm going to just cover the bowl and allow it to rise for a couple of hours. And I'll come back and check it. When it doubles in size, we'll go on to the next step. I'm just going to cover it with one of these. Works perfect. There we go. That'll keep the air out while it's rising. Okay, our dough has risen all the way to the top of the bowl. Definitely twice its size. We're going to get us a little bit of this out to make our pizza pie with. And I'm just going to flour my hands a little. Like this. Tilt y'all up a little like that too. Get me a nice little piece of this. See, it don't take much to make it go back down, does it? Okay, I'm gonna get me a nice little piece of this out of here from my pizza pie. Taking about a third of it. Like that. A little flour on it on both sides. Okay. And now we'll come in with our pizza pan, and we're just going to work this out somewhat. Stretching it. Add a little flour on there where I can work with it a little better. Okay, I'll flour this side a little. Okay, that ought to get us to where we need to go with it. Got a little hole there we're gonna patch up. Okay, we're just going to let that rise a little bit while we work on our toppings. Going to make a nice little sauce with just a little 8-ounce can of tomato sauce. We're going to doctor it up, add some pizza-like spices to it, seasonings to it. So we're going to put that down in this little bowl. Like that. Start in with some garlic powder. Okay, I have some of this tomato basil seasoning that I found at the Dollar Tree, and it's got sea salt, minced garlic, tomato powder, chili powder, paprika, basil, parsley, thyme, and oregano. And that's the kind of stuff that I would want to put in here anyway, so I'm just going to use this seasoning. And I'm going to put probably a good 1.5 tablespoons in there. Just stir that up, and it smells very good, and it smells very much like you would think a pizza would smell. So it's the right seasonings. I know it is. Give it a little taste. It's very tomatoey, but I think it needs a little more of this. And I'm going to add a pinch of sugar into this too. Like that. Which I would say that's probably about 1/2 teaspoon of sugar that I just put in there. Stir that up real good. And see what we have now. Very good. Okay, I like that a lot. I'm going to go on ahead and do me another one of these. I'll make me a couple of them while I got this going. Heat it up. Just as well do 2 of them, because they will both fit in there. I'm going to add a little container of water down into the bottom of my oven to keep my dough moist. I'm going to be using some onions I have cut up and some sausage, smoked sausage I have cut up. I'm also going to be using some cheeses. Okay, I'm going to put our pizza sauce on to our pizza here. I use about 1/2 of the sauce, because I have 2 pizzas to cover. Come in with our onions. And our sausage. It's just going into the oven and for about 10 minutes, and then it'll come out and we'll top it with cheese. Same thing with this one. Put the rest of our tomato sauce on it. It smells good. It smells very good. The rest of our onions on here. Okay, it's been in there for 10 minutes, and now it's time to put the cheese on. And this is just some shredded mozzarella cheese. I put a pretty good dose of it on there. and put it back into the oven until it's fully melted like I want it, and pizza will be done. Okay, our pizzas are done. Here they are. It took them about 5 minutes for the cheese to melt. So I just want to go on ahead and cut a piece of it. And there's our pizza. It's done. I baked it at 400 degrees. It came out very good. And it's very simple because all I used was the smoked sausage and onions for my toppings. It's very good. I love it. Mr. E loves it too.
Got that dough just right.
The dough is perfect. I hope you'll try it. I hope you'll like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, bye.